So let's just start with if you tell me a bit about yourself and what the business is that you own.
Yeah, I'm Linz and I work at Seb's Urban Jungle, which is an online plant shop. We've also got a little shop on Easter Road. It was myself and my friend Seb, the Seb, that started the business together. It was last September we opened the online shop. So we're both just unemployed, on the dole, just sort of sitting about playing cards for days, like what will we do? And we're both obsessed with plants, and as a lot of other people were getting like really into over lockdown as well, we were like, this is a good idea, let's make a wee online plant shop. So we did that, and then when the world kind of started opening up again, we managed to get a wee shop on Easter Road, which was lovely. So we opened through the hatch system to start off with, and then managed to get everybody in eventually, which was lovely. So now we're opening shop number 2 on Leaf Walk. So excuse
Amazing.
me. She's outside.
That's all good. So the business is going well then.
Yeah, it's been really well received. Anyway, so yeah, we've got loads of regulars and everything. Loads of people that have like followed us from the start on Instagram. I think Instagram was one of our main ways of attracting people at the start, with everything being closed down. For some reason, like, we got a lot of traffic through there. We did sort of like monthly giveaways, so I think that was really enjoyed by people. So yeah, no, it's been really good so far. Oh, I've lost your audio.
That's me. Oh. Sorry, that's my fault. So what I meant was, is social media was important tool for you then?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think especially a lot of younger people, and there's a whole sort of plant movement on Instagram. We noticed sort of like urban jungle bloggers, things like that, and we were really getting in on that. We originally just started posting pictures of our own plants and things, and just getting in with the plant community kind of thing. So yeah, social media was really good for it. I think Facebook's good for definitely hitting some people that aren't necessarily on Instagram. We don't really use Twitter at all, because I think we're a bit more visual, lots of pictures, pretty plant pictures. Right.
So I did know that before you started the business that like you were either unemployed, or was there some sort of redundancy there? With someone?
Seb was made redundant. He was working in hospitality. Right. Myself, I just did not have a job at the time, so I was hoping to get back into work, but with everything going on, it was quite hard to find a job, and I'd been in a lot of sort of corporate toxic work environments, so I really wanted to just do something of my own. I didn't think I could go back to, I don't know, Sainsbury's or something. Not
do you think
with Sainsbury's, no. I just struggled with it.
Sure, yeah. Do you think that, one of the questions I thought of was, do you think that either being made redundant or being unemployed, do you think if you hadn't been like that, you would have ever started this business?
I don't know. We're both pretty big dreamers, and we knew we wanted to do like something of our own eventually. But I think that happening was really like a kick up the arse to actually do it.
And so specifically about houseplants, then, why do you think they have become so popular?
It's everyone's stuck in their houses, and it's, I don't know, it brightens up your house. Like, people say plants make you happy, and it really does. It's nice to care for other things. It almost makes you care for yourself a wee bit better, and they just look fabulous in your house or office or anywhere.
Do you think they have an impact on mental health then? Do you think they ground you, having to care for them and stuff?
100%. I've got a lot of struggles with myself with mental illness, and plants are wonderful for me. I really enjoy them, and I've heard that from a few customers as well, which makes me very happy to hear that has that effect on other people too.
And do you buy your stock from UK sellers? Do you buy from abroad? How do you stock the business?
So we started, our sort of supplier was in Holland. So Seb's actually Dutch. He's from Amsterdam. So that was nice. He was able to talk to them and everything. We've got a good relationship. But with, Brexit and the pandemic and everything, it got a lot harder to get stock from them. So we've managed to find a UK stockist. So, that's been a lot better. But yeah.
I suppose that's good for environmentally as well. It's not traveling so far. It's not on planes or anything like that.
Definitely, yeah. When you put it that way, 100%. And environmental impact is actually, it's important to us. Definitely, we try and do everything as eco-friendly as possible. Yeah, biodegradable, recyclable packaging wherever we can. Everything's wrapped in like brown recycled paper. Yeah, I think that's definitely something that's high up there on our priority list. Definitely.
What else would you put up there? Maybe what, like top 3 priorities, top 2 priorities, something like that.
Sense of community. I'm all about that. Like our Easter Road shop, it's lovely. Like Leith is just a lovely place, and there's so many people that come in, and they're there a lot. And then it's such a small environment, so they all end up chatting to each other, and then you're making coffees, and we're all just having a wee blether, and it's a really nice environment. And when it's quiet, it's really nice for people to come in and just chill. We get a lot of compliments on that. Just it's a good environment for people. And we're doing a lot of charity work. We've managed to do a couple sort of fundings. One was for Refugee in Glasgow, and the other was LGBTQ Youth Scotland in Leith, I believe it was. So we're trying to do that like as much as possible and build up on that where we can.
Well, that was one thing that the last guest I had on talk about local business. She owns a gift shop in South Queensferry, and that's her gift shop's right on the high street. And so one of the things she mentioned was that everyone on that high street is all friends. It's all local business. They all help each other out, recommend each other. And the thing she was saying was one of the pieces of advice that she would ignore for local business is that there's no friends in business. And she says there's only friends in business. Do you think that's the case on Easter Road?
Yeah, definitely. We've made a lot of friends with the people on Easter Road, which is quite nice. And I think Leith Walk will be very, very similar. But I'm not sure. I think that's just nasty people that say that. I don't know, like it's nice to be nice. We're a big believer in that. So I think that's what makes our shop so cute as well, is that we're generally just like really loving people, very caring people, and you can't really go wrong with people that like plants and coffee. So it's a nice place to be.
How do you communicate with employees? Do you have any advice or any ways of like something specific that you guys do with your employees that maybe help them?
I don't know. That's a difficult question.
It's quite specific.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess generally we've not got that many staff at the moment. We're hiring. Well, we've just finished hiring, so we're just letting people know today, which is quite exciting. And we'll be expanding in the future. But I think in terms of advice for them, like working in the shop and everything, is just to be themselves, have a chat with the customers, be honest, and try and have fun with what you do. It's a nice environment to work in. And yeah, it's not one of those jobs where you have to dread going to work every day. Like I generally think that everyone enjoys it. I do.
Have you encountered any setbacks or roadblocks, and if you have, how have you overcome
them? There's been like a few issues with deliveries and stuff due to whatnot, and that's been a bit of a struggle. Things coming in a lot later. For example, we were waiting on moss poles. I'm sure every plant shop in Edinburgh had the same problem, like moss poles to support your plant up, and yeah, we just couldn't get them for months and months and months, and it was due to like the lorry driver shortage. So that was a shame, but we just kind of had to wait it out and stock other things, teach people how to make their own moss poles. We've just recently got like in sphagnum moss, so you can actually make your own, which is good. Yeah,
amazing. Do you have any? Do you have regulars? Do you have people that come into the shop like once a month and buy plants? And how important are they? Do you cater to them?
Oh yeah, like I love our regulars. There's people that come in every single day for coffee, sometimes twice a day. And then obviously there's like your sole plant people who'll get a coffee when they're in, but like they come in all the time for plants, which is lovely. You get the odd sort of like one-off people that are just in for a big statement piece or a couple gifts for someone, which is always nice. We get a lot of tourists as well. Easter Road, I didn't realize was like good traffic for tourists, so it's nice. Tell people about our online shop, and we get them to follow us on Instagram and stuff. So it's good to get the word about. I think our locals are pretty good for getting the word out too.
How do you see? So talk about tourism. So with Easter Road and Leith, what do you want to happen with them? do you want that to turn into the kind of tourist ideas of the Royal Mile, or do you want it to keep it that sort of independent, unique sort of businesses like your own? Do you want to keep it like that?
100%.
That's an easy question.
100%. Yeah, Easter Road and Leith Walk, they're definitely picking up in that way as well. Like, there's a lot of small independent businesses that are run by lovely people. So I can't imagine it getting very, covered in tartan and like wee Jimmy hats very soon. But no, I think it's good. People want to come to Leith. I think it's been voted like the coolest suburbs in something. It's like top 5. So I've heard. But yeah, Leith's a good place.
That's what
I'm thinking hopefully when the trams open, it'll bring a lot more traffic down and make it a lot more accessible for people in town.
Yeah, I think the one thing we don't want in Leith is like gentrification, where you're getting all this money getting poured into big business on Leith, and then you're pushing out people that stay there and stuff like that, which shouldn't happen as long as we keep it to local small businesses.
I hope so. That's my thinking. But we don't want any more student flats and Starbucks in Leith. We don't need that.
Well, that was the thing. One of the things I was speaking to with someone 3 guests ago about the pandemic and the impact of it on businesses is that Starbucks and Costa will have seen less footfall because people weren't going into the centre to go to work. They were staying at home, so then they were supporting their local businesses. Do you think you found that during the pandemic?
I think with a lot of people I know, definitely, and for myself, sure. Like pretty much every day I was nipping out for my walk, and then when you could like get a takeaway coffee sort of thing, because that's people's livelihoods, and you get out for a wee bit.
Yeah. How important do you think word of mouth is with your business? So people recommending it to other people. That's how I found out about it. Someone else told me about Seb's Urban Jungle, and then I walked past it on Easter Road. I was like, oh, there it is there.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I think it's the best form of advertising, people chatting about it and letting their loved ones know, because it's really good. There's something for everyone. We've got like the coffee and the foods, and we've got the plants, and we've got pots, accessories, as well as art by local artists. So we really want to expand on that as well, to provide like a platform for local artists to sell their stuff in a cute little shop. And also, it's nice for the locals to have that there. I think a lot of people prefer or, feel a lot better about buying from small independent artists than, just wholesale, which is obviously you get great stuff that way as well. But there's something quite unique and special about buying from a small artist.
Mm-hmm. One of the ways I prepared for the local business episodes, was just listen to podcasts on business, because most guests I get have like a book or something like that, which was one idea actually, because this is what I do for my podcast, is I have all the guests and try and have something that symbolizes all the guests I've had on. But there's been a few guests who haven't written a book. So the idea I had for Seb's Urban Jungle was having a small plant with maybe like a sticker on the pot or something like that. But anyway, I'm digressing. So yeah, I listened to a bunch of business podcasts, and one of the things they were talking about was how important it is to pivot rather than U-turn. So if the whole general business is going well, but something's not going right, you don't just U-turn or completely shut down. You just pivot slightly. You just move and maybe change one small thing, and then something better comes from that. Do you think you've done that before? Have you pivoted?
It's nothing that comes to mind, I don't think. Obviously, like when you're starting up a business, you sort of like need to find your feet with it a wee bit. Like you'll set things up in a certain way, and then you'll realize, it's maybe a wee bit better to do it that way. So I think it is like small changes all day, every day, until you're like, this is working very well, But there'll always be changes, like the bigger business grows. So yeah, small changes rather than U-turns.
Sure. What do you think? What's a challenge right now that you're trying to navigate? Is it having the new store on Leith Walk? Is that the main thing you're focusing on?
It's been a project. We're pretty much renovating the place. It's massive. So it was an old sort of supermarket, so we had to take down all these sort of like shop walls and take down like really old battered plaster, and so there's like original metal beams and brickwork and everything that we wanted to keep. So it has been, we're working all day, every day, all hands on deck for it. Still a lot of work to be done, and Seb's an ambitious man, so he wants to have the shop open for I shouldn't really say, but hopefully the 21st.
Okay.
Which is mad because it's a
Yeah.
building site at the moment, but
Mm.
I'd like to get it done for then.
Of course. What's the plan with that shop? Is there any big ideas you have?
Yeah, so Easter Road is the coffee house, Seb's Urban Rungle Coffee House, and the Leith Walk one is going to be more of a brunch room, but we're going to have like some alcoholic drinks and stuff, so you can have a wee mimosa and whatnot with your breakfast. So something a wee bit different, but also for the start, just before going into Christmas, we've just opened. We're going to keep it quite similar to the Easter Road shop in terms of our menu and things like that and how it operates. And then when the new year starts, we're planning on building a proper kitchen in the back, and really expanding on the food menu, and then start doing drinks and things like that. So yeah, very exciting.
And what do you have any ideas for food? What sort of any ideas for dishes that you're going to use, or is it too early for that?
Too early. Seb is the first. We'll have all the inspiration up in here.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far with owning the business?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I think definitely. That's a very hard one. I should have prepared this answer. I think listening to, I think working together, definitely we had to learn how to listen to each other's ideas and like incorporate both of our ideas, or compromise and go for different things. I think working with your best friend is, you get used to it after a while, but at first we were like, it was just work and only work. So thankfully we're back to just like working. Now we're still work, but we've made time for like social things as well now, which is quite nice.
Right. Well, I think that's maybe one of the perks of being your own boss. Is there any other perks that you found with owning a business compared to maybe working for someone else?
Yes. Yeah. I think it's because you can make your own decisions about things. You can make things look how they want. You can sell what you want. You can, build the sort of relationship with customers that you want. And yeah, you don't have someone constantly telling you what to do, or you don't have any nasty bosses or anything like that. Not that we're nasty bosses. We'd never be nasty bosses.
No, of course not. So that's maybe like there's less restriction, there's more freedom, more creative freedom then.
Yeah, definitely. I think that makes a big difference. Yeah.
If someone gave you £1 million right now for the business, what would you do with it?
Well, that's a hard question.
The last person thought that was a hard question as well. I changed it slightly and just said, where do you want to be in 5 years?
Both
so maybe that's a more
questions.
Yeah.
I'm very open-minded about things. Like, I don't know what I'd want, and I would just, go with the flow, see what would happen. Like, there's so many things you could do with it. It's hard to narrow it down. I know for Seb, like, he's very like, I want to do this in this order, and I'll have this in this many years, and I just love that ambition. So he's always got us on track, or he's got like the next big thing in his head going already. So he keeps us on our toes.
Well, do you think that's maybe why you guys work so well together, is that he's looking very far ahead, he's got these ideas very far ahead, and maybe you're looking at the next day or the next week?
Yeah, I think definitely a mix of the two. He's got big dreams, we both do, and it's good because he really knows how to put them out there. Like, he is Seb of the Urban Jungle, so.
And oh, right. So I've actually been looking at these as my notes, but I've just realized I've been doing this all in my head and not been paying attention to the order. So we're now on the quick fire questions. So these are nice, fun, like little thinking required. So, well, first actually, what's your favorite plant?
Oh, mine's got to be a Sansevieria. People usually know it as a snake plant or mother-in-law's tongue, but I'm not really a big fan of that name. It sounds a bit weird. But no, it's just like the most resilient plant. You can have it in full sun, low light. You barely need to water it, and it's so sturdy. I love it. Easy to propagate as well. And then obviously, I'm gonna have to pick two, but yeah, I'm on Monstera deliciosa because that is our logo, and they're just absolutely beautiful plants. It was one of the first big plants I got for my flat, and yeah, it's a monster now, literally.
What's actually, before we go on to any other quick fire questions, what I was just thinking of, what do you think, is there problems with commercial plant businesses, so big businesses, ones that when you're ordering, like, I don't want to like name ones, I'm going to name ones, Moonpig for example, like what's the is there issues with them, is there issues with the way they deal with plants, is there issues with how they organize themselves with plants?
I think generally them having like a huge amount of money to buy lots and lots of plants in bulk, and then be able to sell it for ridiculously cheap. And then they don't store it that well. They'll overwater them, they'll not water them. They're not getting any light in the shop, things like that. That I think that affects us a wee bit, because people come in and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a really nice ZZ plant," and then they'll go to IKEA or something and they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, way cheaper," even though it's been sitting there like in no light, and just a lot of the time they don't pot them very well. It's not got the right potting medium. And obviously, as I say, like a lot of the time they overwater it. So I definitely prefer going into like wee plant shops myself and picking plants.
Well, that was one of the things the last guest said as well, that she's had customers that come in and say, "Oh, like this card is this much at this shop," and her response is always, "Well, they're not paying the rent I'm paying. They're not one person owning a business. They're a multi-conglomerate. They've not got people's wages to pay in the same sense that I do." So, and also like with plants and local, say, crafters and creators, the amount of time like one person would spend on, say, like knitting a jumper or making a card, you shouldn't really put too much of a price on that. It's just you should put a higher price on that, because that's someone's time that you're spending.
Definitely, I completely agree with that.
That's right. Let's go back to quickfire. So, do you have a least favorite plant?
Oh, probably a Boston fern. Like me and them just don't get on. Like there's a lot of ferns I like, but the Boston fern, if it's not happy, it's very shady, and I don't like the mess.
Okay.
That's very much fun.
Do you have a favorite book or a book that you've gifted to people?
Ooh, that's a good question. Not off the top of my head. It's totally unplant related, but 24-hour party people. I've given that to a few friends. I don't know who has it now. It's been passed about a lot, but yeah.
Okay. What's that about?
It's about the Manchester scene, music in the Manchester scene in the 90s.
Cool. Okay. I'll link all these in the show notes if anyone's listening. What purchase of £100 or less has most impacted your life?
Probably
Maybe a plan.
Yeah, it's probably a plan. I think it's probably there's a giant Sanseviera I've got back here. It's absolutely
lovely.
Probably that. Yes, giant. Can't complain.
Nice. If you could have a gigantic billboard showing to billions of people, what would you have it say? So it could be a quote, could be just some advice, something like that you want everyone to know.
Plants make people happy. Let's go with that.
That's a good one. I like that.
Or no, I don't know if I can say that, but
no, do it.
What the fuckulent? I would get this.
I like that. Okay. What's one absurd or weird thing that you love?
Oh, I have no idea. I quite like cleaning, which I know is pretty weird, but I'm a big cleaner. I like to clean.
Okay. Why? Do you just like the organization of it?
It's therapeutic. I'm not so much of a tidier, but more of a cleaner. Like I like to, like if something's really grubby, like I'm one of the ones in the cafe that's like, let me just scrub down everything. Like, yeah.
I'm sure like the other workers love that.
A lot of us are like that, but which is it's a good thing to have in a hospitality environment. But yeah.
Of course, yeah. In the last 5 years, is there any belief, behavior, or habit that has entered your life or impacted your life?
Belief, behavior, or habit?
It doesn't have to be the last 5 years, actually. Just any belief or habit. Is there any belief, habit that you've picked up that has positively or negatively impacted your life?
I think habits. Collecting plants has 100% changed my life. My flat is, wherever I live is a completely different place now. It's not as bare. There's a lot going on. It's a bit of a jungle, urban jungle, Yeah, it's been really nice, and propagating's been fun. You can share plants with your friends and make new plants out of the plants you've got. So yeah, plants is definitely the best thing that's happened to me in the last 5 years, I'd say.
Okay. So what advice would you give to a young 18-year-old, and what advice should they ignore?
That is a very, very hard one. I think that they just need to go with their gut for a lot of decisions. Take advice from the ones you love, obviously, and you really should listen to that, rather than going with other opinions for whatever reason. And look after yourself. Your brain is very sensitive at times, so just be nice to yourself, be nice to others, treat others how you want to be treated, and dream big. It's very cheesy, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think a lot of 18-year-olds are told that, though. Like in school and stuff like that, they're not necessarily told that.
Very true. And learn about like house stuff, because nobody teaches you these things. Like when I first moved out, I didn't know that you had to clean the washing machine. I just presumed it would clean itself because it's water and soap and stuff. So, they need to teach you these things in school.
Also, I didn't know that. You just told me that. I didn't know that. Mine must be like horrible right now.
It must be, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, clean the washing machine after this.
Yeah, I mean, but there's other things like they don't teach in school, like that I always think they should have, and like PSE, that sort of like social subject. You should have had that once a week where you're getting taught taxes, mortgages, rent, all these things that you're just kind of thrown into when you leave school.
How to adult, you really are.
Yeah, that should be one course that you should have to take.
Like council tax, things like that. Like we should really learn about that. Like there's only so much like Henry the VIII, that we want to know.
Yeah.
Care about his wife, or him. We want to know the real things that are going on now in politics. I think that would be really important in school. Because I think young people especially are getting really involved in politics these days, because it'd be silly not to. Everything that's going on.
Well, it's all about like with young people. It tends to be with every generation that's young people, because it's the future that they're fighting for. So you had that in, say, like the 60s, 70s, people fighting for civil rights, and now you've got that with them, people fighting for LGBT rights, LGBTQ plus rights, trans rights, environmental rights, all these different things that affect their future. It doesn't affect, sadly, older people's futures.
Yeah, which is quite sad. And then there's a few older people that obviously see that, and obviously they're like, we want to help you, but there's only so much they can do with, like oil companies and Tories, but totally unrelated to plants. Seb's gonna be like, Lyndsey, shut up. Why did I let you do this interview?
No, not at all. What's some bad advice you hear in your profession?
I don't know.
So it could be with like local business, or with selling plants, or caring for plants, something like that.
Literally the only thing I can think of is when we first started our shop online, and there was a customer that sort of messaged to be like, I wish you'd use Latin names only, because for some plants, we'd write the Latin name as the title of the product, or we'd write the sort of like common name, the nickname for it, but we'd always have like both in the product description sort of thing. And I was like, I don't know, like sometimes the Latin's just a bit of a mouthful, or the nickname sounds a bit cuter. But yeah, I guess, at first we were like, oh, should we change it? Like, is she right? I don't know. But then we were like, actually, nah, like, let's do us and just like write it the way we want to write it. And people like the plant, they'll buy it. So yeah, I think definitely not sort of, don't look at any sort of like critiques as something you have to change. Like you can go your own way.
Yeah. Well, I think with that, like two things. One, like you shouldn't be buying a plant based on its name. And also, I think you should have both, because I think one, like if you just had the Latin names, it's almost like exclusionary to people who can't read Latin because like who can read Latin anymore? So
Like,
having both, like one gives you like the historical name for it, and one gives you the name that we would use in today's culture.
Yes, exactly. But some of the Latin, obviously, when you're researching about the plants, you find out about it. You're like, oh, that's quite a cute meaning. But I guess that's just because I don't know Latin, so it's nice to find out these terms. And you're like, oh, that's lovely. Like philodendron means love tree, which is gorgeous.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah, that's lovely. Right. What I should also mention, I always forget to mention this. Those questions that I just asked were from Tim Ferriss's show. I need to make sure I need to cite these. These are not my questions, these ones. And these next ones are from James Lipton from the Actors Studio. What is your favorite word?
Ooh.
These are questions that like people would never ask you, but when you do get asked them, it's a very like you never think about these things, but
pass. Oh my god, that's really hard. There's a lot of fabulous words.
I thought you were saying your favorite word was pass. Why?
Oh, pass on the word question. I have no idea. Probably something Drag Race related, but that would be a saying probably. Or
what's the favorite saying then?
Like sickening or something, or I don't know. I call everything fabulous, or I say cute a lot. Or just wholesome words. Wholesome.
Wholesome's a good one.
Wholesome is my favorite word. That is it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do you have a least favorite word?
Not really. I know people are a wee bit creeped out by the word moist for some reason, but I find it.
That's a common one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty easy with words.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of cats purring. My cats.
Good one.
You know, my eldest Joplin snores, which is pretty cute. So.
Joplin's a great name for a cat.
Thank you. It's Joplin and Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks. Well, the last guest I had on, she has a collection of plants that she names after feminist heroes. So she's got Stevie, she's got Ruth for Ruth Bader Ginsberg. Who else does she have? I'm sure she actually has Janis. I think she has a Janis for Janis Joplin. So that's very strange. What sound or noise do you hate?
Ooh. Cutlery scraping off plates, like yeah, I can't with that. It goes through me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What is your favorite curse word?
Am I allowed to say it? Yeah, and probably just fuck. It's a good
classic.
Does the job.
Yeah. You can use it in all these different terms as well. Like it has very many meanings. You can use it positively, you can use it negatively. It's great.
With other words, it's fabulous.
Yeah. What profession other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I would love to be a rock star. Like, I would absolutely love to gig and go on tour and things like that. I used to be in a band. I'd really like to start another band. Yeah, that would be the dream. I'd like to still do that alongside this, but this is pretty full time at the moment. Yeah. Sure.
What was the name of your band?
It was Betty and the Bass. It was me and two other guys, but eventually we just sort of like grew apart and we broke up. So and then I was gonna eventually look for another band. There's like a few girls I'd really like to jam with, but the pandemic happened and stuff. So yeah, just need to get back into that now, which would be lovely.
What do you play?
Guitar, a wee bit of bass, and I sing and write songs.
Awesome. What genre of music?
Like very genre transcending, I guess. Like there's genre, like just whatever song genre.
Yeah, okay.
Song, I don't know. It can be. We used to call it like country grunge, which was a cute thing to call it back then. But like I write a song and it sounds like, oh, that's a sort of jazzy song, or that's a bit of a just different, very different.
Cool. Who's your favorite artist or band?
Ooh, that's a hard question. The Pixies. Pixies are all number one for me, definitely up there. Yeah.
Do you have a least favorite band? Do you have some like a band you hate? Because like people hate Nickelback or they hate Coldplay. Do you have one?
Probably the 1975 or Yungblud.
Okay.
Yeah, just, no. Yeah.
Fair. What profession would you least like to do?
Ooh. 100%. I don't know why I thought of this. That's awful, but at the same time, yeah, work in is it an abattoir where they kill the animals? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very wrong.
That's interesting. I've never actually had that before. Like the majority of the ones are nurses, but that's actually that is a horrible job. So
I have no idea. That came to me like that. Like
yeah, it's an obvious one when you think about it, but I've never actually no one said that. It's interesting.
There's a shortage of them, and I kind of get why.
Yeah, of course. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Sorry. You can apologize for everything. And then we'll talk.
That's a good one. Okay. And lastly, so where can people stay up to date with Seb's Urban Jungle? Where can they go to shop at Seb's Urban Jungle, online and in person?
So Instagram is probably your best bet for all our, really up to date stuff. We do a lot of stories and things like that, which is Seb's Urban Jungle, and our website is sebsurbanjungle.co.uk, so you can shop online there. We do local delivery around like Leith and surrounding areas, and we also do click and collect, so you can pick your plants up from Easter Road, and eventually we'll be able to pick them up from whichever shop is easiest for you, which would be good. But yeah, follow our Instagram to see all our sort of stories and whatnot about us building the shop, because it's been quite fun. You'll get to see us like climbing scaffolding and knocking stuff. So yeah.
Perfect.
A November giveaway. I can't forget that. Okay. We've got a giveaway at the moment, and it is for a 160 centimeter philodendron. It's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, you just need to go to Instagram and to enter.
I will enter. I entered it in one last time with the drums. The partnership you did there, they were so cool. It's such a good idea.
No, I love it. It's a guy that lives on Easter Road that does it as well, which is cool.
Right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time and spending part of your morning here. I really appreciate it. And yeah, keep going with the good work. I love it.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Good chatting to you.